Hey everyone, welcome to another tutorial video on Lora the Explorer. And Lora has a new feature called AppLab. And we covered what it is and how you can use it to interact with smart contracts. Some of you guys wanted another tutorial video on how to pass in transaction types as arguments when a certain contract method requires transaction types as arguments. So in this video, we're going to cover that and how you can do that with Lora. Okay, so first let's go to this demo project. So I've created a very simple smart contract called Fund My App, and it has one method called donate. And what it does is basically anyone who likes the project that this developer is working on, you can call this donate method and donate to the project so that the developer can feed himself and deliver this application that they're building. So it's a simple method, and it takes in one argument called donate transaction. And this has the payment transaction type. Now, if you're not familiar with how Algorithm works, Algorithm smart contracts are not accounts. So it doesn't have an account address, and you can't do anything account related activities. So to do that, you need to interact with its associated application account. So if you want to send some algos to the smart contract, you have to construct a separate payment transaction that's sending that algo to the associated application account. So that's what we're doing here. Is taking in the payment transaction type, and we have three assert statements. We're checking whether the amount of this payment transaction is greater than zero because we don't want people to be spamming this method without actually donating anything. We want to assert that the receiver of this payment transaction is the application address. So you can get that application address with global.current application address. And we're asserting that the sender is the txm.sender. So that's saying the payment transaction sender is the same account as the account that's calling this donate method. After we check all that, that means the payment transaction that is being passed in is correct. So we're just going to return a string that says, thank you for your donation. I promise I'll ship eventually. Okay, so now we want to interact with this Fund My New App contract with Lora's AppLab. So how do I do that? First, what you need to do is you will need to go to your terminal and create the artifacts. So the TL files and the ABI specs, all of that stuff, you want to create it. So to do that, you want to do algokit project run build. So this is a simple allocate command that's going to generate the artifacts of this smart contract for you. Now, after you run that command, and you should see this green check over here to see if it's successfully completed, you can see that there's an artifacts folder here, and you can see these 4 files automatically generated. Now, for Lora, what's important is this arc32.json file right here. And this is what Lora's AppLab is going to use to deploy and interact with your smart contract. Okay, so now let's head over to Lora. Now, before you do that, you want to make sure that you have your local net running in the background. So I have my Docker desktop running in the background, and as you can see, my allocated local net is running. Now, if you don't have it running, open up Docker and run allocate local net start. And that should start up local net for you. Then you can actually easily go to Lora using an allocate command, and that's allocate explore. Now, if you run this command, it will open up your default browser and it will open up Lora configured to localnet. So it's very convenient. I'm just going to head over here because I already have it open. Cool. Okay, now we're at Lora. So the first thing you want to do, if it's the first time you're using Lora, you need to create a dev wallet. So we can click on connect wallet. And if you look over here, there's a button called Create a Funded Dev Account. And if I click that, it will take you to the fund page, and you can create and fund a new local net account that you will use for your development purposes. So I'm just going to fund this account with 10 algos and click Create and Fund. And now it should have created the Lora Dev wallet and supplied it with 10 algos. Now, going back to Connect Wallet, I have Lora Dev selected here. Click Connect KMD, and it's going to ask for the KMD password. Most of you won't have a password unless you've configured it manually, so just click OK. Cool. Now, the Lora Dev account is connected. After you connect your account, go to AppLab and it will have a Create App Interface button. So click on this Create button and click on Deploy New. And here it's going to ask you to select an Arc32 JSON app spec file. Now remember, before, by running allocate project run build, it generated 4 artifacts, and one of those files is the arc32.json file. So this is what Lora wants. Because arc32.json file is the ABI spec that explains everything about this smart contract. So go back to Lora, click on this section, and it will take you to your Finder. Find the project that you are working on. Here I'm in my Fund My New App folder, and find the arc32.json file under the artifacts folder. So I'm going to click on that, click open, and click next. Now that's going to take you to the Create App Interface page, where it's going to ask you to put in the name of the app and the version of the app. Now it's pre-populated, so you can just click next. And then here, click on this call button, and this is the create transaction that you will send to the network to deploy this smart contract. So everything looks okay, and my sender is set to the Lora dev account. Click add, and it's added to the transaction group. Now I click deploy, and it's going to prompt you to sign the transaction. So I'm going to click OK, and boom, just like that, my Fund My New App smart contract is deployed on my local net. Okay, now let's interact and donate to the smart contract. So to do that, you click on this app ID over here, and it will take you to the application page. Here under ABI methods section, you can click on donate to expand it, and you can see the arguments that this donate method takes in and the return type specified over here. So now let's actually call this donate method so that I can donate to this developer. Okay, to do that, I click on call, and it's going to start building this application call that's going to call the donate method. So you can see it's all pre-populated, so you don't need to touch anything here. Now going down to the argument section. So it takes in one argument. The name of the argument is donate_txn, and the type is a payment transaction. Now, it doesn't let you input anything here, right? So how do we actually pass in a transaction type? Now, if you hover over this button right here, you'll see that transaction arguments are built in the top level group. So you don't actually construct and add the transaction type here. You do it at the top level. So just leave it as it is. Just click add. And that's going to add the no-op application call to the donate method. Now, if you look over here, now we can see an option that will tell you, hey, you need to add in a payment transaction because this donate method takes in a payment transaction as an argument. So yes, click on this button right here that says build a transaction passed in as an argument. I click on that, and this is where you construct that payment transaction that will be grouped together with the application call when you're calling the donate method. So it's going to ask you to put in the receiver and the amount of algos that you want to pay. So the receiver should be the application account, right? Because we're donating to the smart contract. So you can do that by copying this application account right here, go back to the build page, paste it in, and let's donate 5 algos. I'm being generous here. So I'm going to add that payment transaction, and it looks all good. And now you can click on send to call the donate method. It's going to ask you to sign the transaction, so click OK, and boom, just like that, you called a contract method that takes in a transaction argument. So that's how you can construct transaction arguments and pass them into contract methods when you're interacting with applications using Lora's AppLab. So if I come down here, you can see the result. The transaction visual is beautifully created here. You can see the payment transaction that's sending 5 algos from this account to the application account. The application call calling donate from where the sender is the Lora dev account, and it's calling the app with this app ID. If you come to the return value, you'll see the string, thank you for your donation. I promise I'll ship eventually. Yeah, I definitely believe in this developer. And if you want to really look into the details of this transaction, just click on this transaction ID. And you can see all of the details of the application call, the return type, the argument that's passed in here, which is another transaction. So you can take a look at the payment transaction information over here, uh, and the return type over here. So there you go. Lora is a very powerful tool that lets you now interact with your smart contract while you're building your smart contract. And you can look at all of the transaction information. And so this is a great visual tool for you to play around with when you're building smart contracts on Algorand. And it's a great way to test and just see in your local environment what it will look like visually on the Blockchain Explorer. So hopefully this video helped. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any other requests for Laura's tutorial, let us know in the comments and we'll make them. Thank you so much.